Hey kids, it's Jurassic James and Jurassic Explains, looking at the long-awaited Carnotaurus. I am very impressed this dinosaur has become so famous in the last 30 years. It's a really, really popular one. What makes it special too is that it was discovered in 1984 in South America, in Argentina particularly, southern Argentina. And so, where many dinosaurs like Stegosaurus, Triceratops, they have Tyrannosaurus Rex, they've been known for 100 years, 200 years. And so those dinosaurs have been, well, not 200 years, 150 years. Those dinosaurs have had a lot of changes over time. Finding Carnotaurus in the 80s, really understanding it in the 90s, it's kind of kept the same look. As you see with my figures here, again, oldest to newest, I will point out that the two major factors in Carnotaurus popularity are Disney's Dinosaur and Jurassic World. I mean, those two movies really put dinosaur on the map for most people, right? So one thing to point out, I'm going to go over the parts and all that together, but the first or earliest Carnotaurus I have is this one here. This is a 1996 Safari Carnotaurus from Carnegie. And so this guy has the basic parts, and you're going to see that this is like the first figure that was out when they were, before Disney's Dinosaur was made. They're probably looking at this kind of model as an example. The main thing to point out, the name Carnotaurus means meat-eating bull because of its face. Basically, there's two horns over the eyes, and then there is, of course, these large carnivorous teeth, so it eats meat, and therefore it has horns like a bull, hence the name Carni, meat, Taurus, bull, right? One thing to point out with this guy, too, is that, and you kind of see it here, there are 4 digits, 4 fingers. Now, I do know all archosaurs, meaning the dinosaurs and all their relatives, they usually have 3 clawed fingers, and like or less, you know, Allosaurus, Velociraptor, T-Rex. The only dinosaurs that usually have 4 that are not the basal ancestry are going to be the Ceratosaurs and the Carnotaurus for the general public. There's more than that, but just overall. And so, what makes the Carnotaurus family special or group special is that they branch off pretty early on, meaning that in the late Jurassic, about 145 million years ago, North America, we have Allosaurus, we have Ceratosaurus. I've gone over these guys over and over again. The Ceratosaurus branched off from the group called Tetanura. So most of the dinosaurs who we meet that you know about, the Velociraptors, the T-Rexes, the Allosaurus, Spinosaur, Giganosaur, all those guys, those animals are in Tetanura. They have like these, the way their tails are made, certain tendons in their tail. The Ceratosaurs do not. And the Ceratosaurs were the underdog to the Allosaurus and their relatives and the Megalosaur, Torvosaurus. Well, that story was Jurassic in nature. By Cretaceous period, we have Pangaea breaking into 2 sections. The northern half is called Laurasia. It includes North America, Europe, and Asia. The southern half is Gondwana, with South America, Africa, Antarctica, Australia, India, and Madagascar. And so in the north, you start getting a lot of duckbill dinosaurs, horned dinosaurs, the raptors in general, Cretaceous period. In the south, we kind of retain the Jurassic style, a lot more sauropod long necks, and then what's more important, these guys here replace the Ceratosaurs. But we start having like Diplodocus and Brachiosaurus. We have Titanosaurs, those the big, like, you know, Argentinosaurus, those guys. And then they're under the foot of these large carnivores. Not so much Carnotaurus, but their family, the Abelisaurs, which I'll touch on more later. Back on the main figure, one thing to point out that stands out is that he has tiny little arms. Carnotaurus has some of the smallest arms of any dinosaur. We say T-Rex had vestigial arms. T-Rex's arms were not as big as my arms. I'm a standard human male at 5'10". And so the idea is that an animal that's like 40-something feet long with arms this short, they seem vestigial, but they still have a function. We know from research with Tyrannosaurs, they can lift 500 pounds, which isn't a lot in the Cretaceous period, but still. Carnotaurus, for example, have even smaller arms. In fact, these arms are too exciting. This is too much going on here. This is a lot going on in this figure. The idea is the arms really, really small nubs. There are 4 fingers. There should be 3 main fingers, and then there's like a little, the 4th one is not really a finger, it's like a spur of bone, and it actually goes another direction. This would be the longest one, like ours, so longer, like it would be shorter going in. This is called the first toe, second, third, or first digit, like that. So it's kind of like that, but they're very, very tiny. Now, one thing people often ask me about the prehistoric planet on Apple TV, they show a Carnotaurus, and the male's doing a mating dance, and his arms are like moving around, and the question is that a real thing? And the answer is, we don't know. That, you know, mating behavior, trying to get a girlfriend per se, that is something that we can't really understand other than like display structures, but we do know the Carnotaurus seem to have really, really mobile arms. The way they're designed, they're very, very mobile to be so small. So who knows? The other thing to point out that's really, we're going to see it more in the bigger guys, but these bones in the back, those are really annoying for multiple reasons. I'm going to go over it with the big guy, actually. But again, overall, for what it is, this is a great model for your, you know, intro. I like the way the head the head looks like it's just not done, like a bulldog, and that is great for this animal. You know, the idea is that the eyes are almost in the middle of the skull. The skull's like back here. That's something we think about the tyrannosaurs and the raptors, those long-faced dinosaurs. These guys are like bulldogs. They have short, stout noses for biting like that. Also, I like the fact that the face is so narrow. We're going to see later on in our friend here that they have the wide faces in modern media. They have very narrow skulls, basically, right? Anyway, so moving forward, we're going to let's see, there he is, right there in the end. Here we have the the Lost World Jurassic Park 1987 Carnotaurus. Now, there is a Jurassic Park 1 Carnotaurus. That is one of those, I have like 10 fossils in my mind that like this fossil here is really, really, really rare. This fossil here, I'm sorry, not fossil, this toy. There's some toys, there's like 10 toys in my mind that I want them, but they're super expensive and rare to find. So the Jurassic Park 1 Carnotaurus is super hard to find. So I have the Jurassic Park 2 Carnotaurus, which is also kind of hard to find, but I got it, you know. And so its big gimmick, if you put look at that, it does a thing. It's some kind of, it bites like that. What's really annoying, of course, is how it's standing, because all the reasons why. It's standing on its tail. Now, to be fair, when it was first dug up in 1984, they found a lot of it. Yeah, there's only one Carnotaurus known. There's only one specimen known to science. And most of what we've seen in the Jurassic World line, the toys recently, there's lots of there's like 1 or 2 bones. The Carnotaurus they found was super well preserved. Where it's missing like most of the tail and below the knee, but it has a lot of the other parts here. So we're like, oh, we get how it works, right? One thing to point out with this one too is that it has these little bumps and ridges. We're going to go over it more with our big guy. But the arms are horrifically, they're just like the Jurassic Park raptor arms, just kind of put on there. I think it's capture gear. It's like handcuffs. You put handcuffs on it, and there, right? And so anyway, that was, and again, the stance is horrific. It should be, like horizontal like that. The horns are cool because the horns themselves, the bone themselves, the actual horn on the skull, is not very sharp. It's like that, shaped kind of like this. I've seen multiple interpretations of it. Some of them have horns going just straight out. Some go forward. Some are just nubs too. It depends on the model maker. There's no research I'm aware of on Carnotaurus horns. But the main thing to point out is this guy, you start to see that more wider face you see here. Now the big deal with this animal in the Jurassic World novel, not Jurassic World, Jurassic Park Lost World novel, is that the Carnotaurus were mentioned in the book. They were like chameleons. They were color changing. And so there's a scene, I can't remember exactly, but the scene at night where they go to an area and you can see there's 2 of them hiding, in Carnotaurus, it's only about 26 feet long, which I think only about 20. That's really big, but considering T-Rex and Giganotosaurus and Spinosaurus, that's pretty small. And so this animal, basically, it's hiding and it's color changing. And remember correctly, the characters were like cautious and an animal was cautious too. Because remember, predators don't want to engage and fight that much. If you get hurt, there are no veterinarians to help you, right? And so they're often, that's why when animals charge you, it's really interesting that you can like fight, well, certain animals, that you can make a big scene and make a lot of noise. And the Carnotaurus in the book were kind of like shy. But the chameleon thing entirely made up by Michael Crichton. Don't bet on it. But anyway, on dino damage, I do find it weird that the dino damage shows this like kind of they have ribs, and some theropods have gastralia, like ribs in the front. This looks like neither of those things. They didn't even try here. Anyway, but And so the big player is Disney's Dinosaur. It came out in the year 2000. Live action backgrounds, animated dinosaurs. One of my favorite movies, actually. Top 10 favorite movies. I just watched it this week with my wife, actually. And so if you don't know the story, the Iguanodon alidar is raised by lemur. Well, again, lemurs didn't evolve in the Cretaceous period, but long story there. By lemurs, he goes to the mainland, they find Carnotaurs. There's the larger set. They only sold these 2 in large set. And then they sold the smaller set, which I got both like this. So the Carnotaurus and Disney's Dinosaur, I think everyone said it online, they are way too big. They are like bigger than a T-Rex size. And I remember the moment when Dinosaur came out, and my friends who had saw it were like, man, the T-Rex had horns. And I remember thinking for the first time in my life as a child, like, oh, other people don't know there are different species of predator. Like, I always knew, like, we have lions and tigers and leopards and cheetahs and dogs and wolves and all that. And I remember they thinking, oh, it's just T-Rex. It's a big predator. It's a short-armed T-Rex. And I said, no, it was, I remember just being really, that was a mind-opening moment. But back to the topic at hand. So the big deal with this guy here, or these guys, I have, this is the one from my childhood, and this is one I bought on eBay. So someone named Nathan sent, I bought this, and do you know, like, you know how you say your pet goes to a farm upstate? I think your Carnotaurus is living very well, Nathan. The big thing about this guy is its integument. And we saw it with the earlier ones, but I want to make sure I address this right now because it's the most obvious example of this right here. Looking at bones and parts, and I just realized I did not grab a crocodile or a Komodo dragon. What was I thinking? As I remind you, friends, that I always do wear pants and boots when I do these talks because I am a professional and I do not do videos comfortably. It's about discomfort for a good product for my fans. Anyway, so here we have a crocodile, and a saltwater crocodile, and a Komodo dragon. So there are three kinds of integument structures or skin structures I want to go over real quick. So there's a term called osteoderm. Osteo means bone, derm means skin. So there's bones in your skin. So for example, Komodo dragons have little bits of bone in their skin. They're not exposed, you can't really see them, they're in their skin for protection. So you can't see it, but it would be there. It's in that area. So the other thing, and again, our crocodiles have really large osteoderms, these big scales in their back. Not scales, they're osteoderms. I'm trying to correct this myself. And so these are large bone plates in the skin, and there's skin over it, and sometimes in keratin, like our fingernails and hair growing over that, making it large and big and imposing. On the side of the animal, there are smaller scales, and those are called basement scales. They're the ones that are just the base level of the skin. And then there's large ones called feature scales on the side too. And so looking at Carnotaurus, it is very well known about this pattern here. Now, one thing to point out too is that there's skin impressions of the Carnotaurus. So that's like we're not guessing much, but then they still got it wrong. So these appear to be like osteoderms. And despite popular belief, Carnotaurus has no signs of osteoderms on its back and body. They do have impressions with the basement scales, very tiny scales, and then big feature scales sticking out every so often, but they're not in rows like this, lined across like that. So that's something that Disney's Dinosaur, and I think Jurassic World's toy did it too, the Carnegie toy did it too, and it kind of just became a thing because they all have some form of that. And so it's one of those things where, as a person who's knowledgeable in this area, I see that one movie, one toy, one thing happens, and then everyone kind of follows suit, which happens a lot in fashion and social media and all. But it's just something like that's not proven. We have the skin, and so there will be just random scale, kind of like on the side here, there's random big scales and small scales. That's more like what's reality. Again, this guy is built like a truck. It's like just big, chunky, wide face, crushing thing. And again, Carnotaurus had a very narrow face. The skin on the face, on the face actually, narrow head. Skin on the face is really neat because they did not get those parts off when they were digging it out. And so there's a picture of the specimen when they found it in the field, those iron concretions. So if you ever want to know this, when I was digging with the Children's Museum in Indianapolis, and we were digging to a level and there was ironstone. And so most people think, like in Jurassic Park, you're just brushing away dust and it's all perfectly aligned. That is not how it happens sometimes. If you're lucky, oh, there you go. It's a station again. So what happened basically is there was a level we got to, and there was this ironstone with a chisel. You just bing, 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 bing. It was really, really unpleasant. And so that's what was on Carnotaurus. And so that part was lost, basically. I will tell you that the tail pattern, these scales you see here, this kind of overlaying scales, look kind of like certain desert lizards. We didn't find this part of the tail. So anyway, well, that's Carnotaurus in that shell. There is a smaller, they had a McDonald's version. You can get the toys or the puppets like that. If you want me to do a talk on Disney's Dinosaur, I would love to. If you're interested, put it in the comments because I love that movie. It's very, science-wise and, whatever. There's our Carnotaurus here. Moving them over. And then there's a tiny little, I can't remember if it was McDonald's or not. This one little guy here. Does it do a thing? Let's see. Oh, cool. So oh, I never knew that. I just bought it. So it does that, like a little, yeah, just dancing along. I'll get it later. The point is, now, back to science. We're looking at, this is my, let's see, it is a, who are you? And I know it's a Carnotaurus, but what company are you? Batan. Oh, so we're looking at the ones from Target. There's no year here. So this is Batan. So basically it takes the Carnegie design and just jumps ahead like a decade, basically, or 2 decades, actually. Well, no, it's like 2010 to 12. And so the only thing it did differently, really, was give it a better, more like this one is like, Carnotaurus toy. This one's more accurate. And since that way standing, the tail is bent down for engineering to balance better, but the feet have the 3 tails in the front, 2 claws on the back, the 4 toes, fingers. Oh, look at that, look at that. So on the hand, you can't really see. It's like, I'm like this close, I'm like, oh, it is right. There are the 3 clawed fingers and one little nub. It's not pointed backwards, but it's still a nub, not a claw. That's the win. And here, the scales are actually more accurate. That is the most, that makes it, yes, that makes it, if not, at least on integument alone, the most accurate Carnotaurus I have. Because the scales are just randomly dispersed. They're really big feature scales. Very good. Baton. They also made this one, I think the batteries are gone. Yeah, but this one, they made like a series of larger figures of their smaller figures that scream with red lights. The batteries are dead, so yay. But again, same body plan. You can, oh, wait. Oh, but it only has 3 clawed fingers. Okay, they went backwards from the bigger model. Of course you would. Why would you make it better? Come on, what are you, dumb, James? So here we have, let's see, the 2010 Safari. So one of our bigger feature, I remember getting this one. So let's see, there are claw on that 4th finger. So this guy's hands, I mean, it's more like this in appearance, but it's really the first toe there. So it's missing the pinky, which is good. And there's like 2 like this. This should be, what we call a ring finger in humans, should be a little nub pointing backwards. This one has 4 what appear to be clawed fingers for the most part. But they are tiny and point backwards, which is a good thing. They're kind of like, not that they pointed backwards always, but the idea that you're so small, they're not doing much, you know. And so that's really cool. It kept some of the order. Yeah, you can see it there. There's a lot of the order. Again, a scale. These appear to be osteoderms or just really big feature scales or keratin, and they seem to be in that same kind of pattern we're seeing with the Carnotaurus here. And so again, not terribly wrong, but not like the best. This one, I know Steven on Your Dinosaurs Are Wrong, who I love that channel. I support them. They're great because they do they cite their work. I'm just like, here's a big picture, you know what I'm saying? And so this one, ooh, okay. So the hands, there's 4 clawed hands like that. It should be 3. And the feet are kind of turned in a weird way. Part of the dinosaur, when you define them, they have their ankles move a certain way. And this guy's kind of twisting in a way that would not be great. But overall, pretty good model. Like I said, if you want to see a detailed one, I would suggest Your Dinosaurs Are Wrong. But again, overall, the main parts are there. And let's see. So this one I got from, I think, Marshall's. One of those like dinosaur packs. The arms are way too long. 4-fingered hands, large fingered hands, not great. But overall, I mean, it's a Carnotaurus. I can look at it and go, it's a Carnotaurus. But overall, like I said, those little feature like that. The legs should be longer. We don't have below the knee, but based on what we have of Carnotaurus and comparing it to other Belosaurs in his family, it seems to have had long legs and making it a very fast dinosaur. And so the fastest dinosaurs are the ostrich dinosaurs, the Gallimimus, that kind of thing, or Ostruthiomymus. But Carnotaurus are a pretty fast non-Coelurosaur, right? Then we have, let's see, who are you from? This is Schleich, which is, again, and Schleich makes, it's essentially the Disney's Dinosaur Carnotaurus, but more exaggerated. It has 3, even they had 4 fingers in their Carnotaur. This one has 3 fingers. It's like they're not even, okay. But overall, like I say, it's just a homage to this. I do like, although the nose, actually the face seems a little too short in some ways, but I do like the way that the face is so pugly, you know, kind of thing. That's really cool. Overall, like I said, it's all aligned a certain way with the other one. So that's a continual thing. And so let's see, put that there, put this here. So I want to mention the horns with this one. This is a is this Papo? Sometimes Papo, they don't put their name on anything. I feel like when Papo does that, or Schleich does, or they do that, it's kind of like if you're buying Papo, you should know what you're buying. So I think it's a Papo, but it's Carnotaurus. And so I like what the horns are really big. And so there's a huge study, not a huge study, there's a study on, the Safari tube of skulls. We have the little tubes, there's Carnotaurus is in there. This one's nose is actually too long. But the horns, you know how they're kind of like little nub like that? So there's a study looking at the horns of dinosaurs and spines and trying to figure out if there's a bone, this much bone, how much keratin covering is this? So if you see a Triceratops horn, there's a covering on each horn. how big or small is that? If you look at a Margosaurus, a sauropod long neck from South America, has the rows of bones in his back of his cervical neck vertebra. There's these spines on it. How long are those spines? So that can be argued with Carnotaurus here. So they could just be little nubs like this. They could face just go straight out like this guy. They could go forward. You know, we don't know as of right now. And the neat thing about that is, I did see an image where like the horns like came up and like went around, and I would bet that argument's based on many birds today, many avian dinosaurs. That a lot of them have like a bit of a bone here, and then there's a keratin crest and feathers and like that. So maybe they're thinking that. I don't know. The only thing I do find it's interesting, but I don't think it's not true, are the scales in this guy. So this guy has these like overlapping scales here on the legs, these bigger scales here. We have impressions of these parts of the body, and they don't show that. And so this is how I speculate. It's neat looking. It's kind of weird looking, actually, in my opinion. But but there's no proof of that. This double row of spines here, there's no proof of that either. And so that's kind of neat. So I would say, I mean, as far as not being just Disney dinosaur wrong, this is like my most inaccurate one in some ways. But the hands, wait, are the claws? Yeah, it's a fourth claw. So it's 4 clawed hands, but they're small, and they're kind of, that's good. Anyway, there's big legs, I like that too. But other than that, the scales and it's kind of weird. One I would probably use more likely in my imaging. I think I'd use this one for my website. This is the, let's see, 2019 Safari. And so basically, it's giving you those osteoderm-like growths, but we can just pretend, we can close our eyes, we can focus, we can pretend those are actually feature scales. But again, they should be more random than that. Overall, the horns kind of come out like this. I like that too, the way the skull kind of turns in like that. The hand should... I can't tell. Well, actually, there's no claws on the 3 fingers, so if there shouldn't be a claw here anyway, but they don't claw the 3 fingers. But anyway, I do like the fact that the belly scales, like the way the belly has like these little tiny scales, that's really cool. That is how I would imagine, or from the picture I've seen of the feature scales, will look like that. And then it's the big ones every so often. They just shouldn't be in alignment like that. So this is a pretty, like I said, this one and I don't remember, I just said, I think it was this one. This is the one I use for my, okay, if I use it as a website picture, good sign, right? Let me put you right there. So again, this one here, like I said, if I say what's the most accurate one here, it would be between this one and that one. So the 2 Safari ones would be pretty good. The 2 more recent Safari ones would be really good. So we get to Jurassic World. So of course the Carnotaurus, there's a volcano eruption, and the Carnotaurus is attacking a Sinoceratops, and and it's pretty good size, but again, the face should be more narrow. The hands have, oh, okay, so they have 4 digits, but they have like this. And again, this one is the shortest, so that's good. But these 3 are the same size. They're different. It gets longer as you go out, and then the backwards facing bone nub. Push the button and it snaps. I just like that as a toy person. Again, tail's pretty cool. The feet are bigger in the back because it's balancing. It's an engineering thing. But again, it retains a Carnotaurus kind of overall. And on the one hand, they're all red, mostly red, the big ones, right? Jurassic World and Dinosaur. And even, Jurassic Park. And so, on the one hand, I don't want it to leak into the public imagination that they're red. We don't know that. We can't see that in their skin. And plus we have. But on the other hand, I think, well, maybe for the public, seeing this dinosaur with horns in the same little pattern and the same color in different franchises will clue them in that this is Carnotaurus. A lot of kids like Carnotaurus. I've been told that a lot. It's reached, in my opinion, the top 5. You have like your T-Rex, of course, predator dinosaurs, T-Rex, Spinosaurus, now Giganotosaurus, Velociraptor, and now Carnotaurus. During that top 5 or 10 dinosaurs that kids ask me about when I do talks. Let's see. So here we have this. And there was a group pack, and this one had a missing horn from the Jurassic World Dominion, the one with the final one at the time, and the horn's broken off. And so this one has your, oh, wait, yeah, the DNA code's on the foot for this one, and this one has the DNA code. At this point, they moved it to inside the body like that. The tail turns like this. The arms. So again, they all have the same, like they have like a thumb almost, a first toe, not a thumb, but a first toe smaller. The head turns this way, up and down. Jaws open. So again, they're going to copy the same design because they're all Jurassic World. Apparently this is the sound making. Is it sound making? Yeah, sound making upgrade to this one. It's the same one. It's the repaint probably. Anyway, so there's this one here, and there's a button on the tail. Now, it's still going. I do want to say I like the look of this. The idea that it has like this sausage body. That's one of the nicknames for this group, having sausage form. They have these long legs, these short tails, you know. Not short tails, long legs and short arms. Then we have this guy, I got a discount at Walmart for like 20 bucks. And the official scissors of Jurassic James have been waiting the entire time, patiently, to do their thing. And so I think this is just a repaint of my friend here. But we'll compare it in a minute. Oh, nope, there's more going on, actually. It's a remold, as the kids call it. Oh, the feet are doing something. Let's see. So I didn't know this until like recently. There's a tab here you pull out. Yes, like a baby crying before birth. Let's see. Gonna turn that until it clicks. There you go. I've been opening these things wrong the entire time. So I'm like, I'm an adult man. I'm ripping them apart. That can't be for children. And I realize it's not for children. It's the whole way you do this. So let's get this out of here. And so this guy, or gal, Jurassic World, right? So this one is essentially the same size. Oh, how dangerous. The official scissors are supposed to be received for safety purposes. And yeah, it's essentially the same. Oh, that's interesting. The tail is like big and broad. Now, why is that so cool? Because if you look at the tail, the caudal vertebra, the tail bones, there's like the bone, well, like it's bone, and there's projections, like the neural spines going up, and there's other like chevron going down, and there's little rib parts come off, and the size of that tells you the size of the muscles around it. And so the idea here is that this animal has a pretty wide tail, and Carnotaurus and its lineage seem to have really large tails, big muscles going along here. And so the idea is that they're more of a ambush predator, and then later on they're sprinters. So the idea is that they are, when living with the giants, like not the species but its family, living with Dinosaurs, these large Carnotaurus, they're taking down larger prey. These guys have to sprint and jump and grab things really fast, right? And so that's kind of their ecological role. So the DNA code is like right there in the tail. You have the button you push. So yeah. Overall, the same mold. I mean, they have the same general size and everything. This one's tail's bigger. But like I say, so I guess for the kids who didn't get your Disney's Dinosaur set, you can just get, you have this. Final unboxing is the Hammond collection. Now the Hammond collection is interesting because these figures are usually like more, I don't know, or less, I don't know. I can't tell how it works sometimes. They're just a few dollars more than the kid-friendly figures. And so Carnotaurus makes a big role. Oh, there's a write up here. Look at that. It says as Claire, the main character, well, whatever. As Claire Deering, Owen Grady, and Franklin Webb attempt to flee the erupting volcano. This is from Jurassic World Part 2 or Jurassic Park Part 5. The volcano of Isla Nublar, the menacing Carnotaurus interrupts their plans and stops them in their tracks. While Geosphere is offering some protection, its surprise appearance of the Tyrannosaurus that ultimately allows them to escape. Yay! So, I love the Jurassic World movies. It's just like, okay, like that's, you know, whatever. So actually we're not sure if we're done yet. Let's see. And here's our guide. Okay. And we're going to cut here, cut there, cut there. So if you're wondering, the Hammond collection, which is at Target, these are essentially like how in Star Wars, and they have like the like high-end figures. They're roughly the same size as the main figures, but they're more detailed. So they're, I guess, in theory for adult collectors. I don't know. They're kind of their push, but that's what this is. And like I said, I have the Parasaurolophus and the other one, the Carnotaurus over there. So they're pretty nice. So same rules. You have your tail. You turn it in like that. And so the difference, of course, is there is way more articulation. It speaks very well. Get it? Articulation. No, the knees can bend. Believe it or not, these are not the ankles here. That's the middle. These bones here are the same bones in the middle of your feet called metatarsals. So this is like the heel or the ankle, and this is the middle of the foot. So they walk on their toes. If I didn't mention it before ever, dinosaurs walk on their toes. Even the large sauropods. The tail has 2 points of bend articulation, which is actually pretty good because the tails are not very flexible in Carnotaurus, so that's pretty nice that they did that. The head, same thing here. Let's see, the head opens, and it's pretty, it's not as narrow as it should be, but overall you get the idea. So again, pretty cool model. The hands can go in and out. They have, again, the same, they have 4 clawed fingers, which is incorrect. It should be the 3 claws and a little nubbin. But again, about the same, a little bit same size as these guys. A little longer, more naturally fleshed out in some ways. Big boxy head, you know. Pretty cool. Now, what's the big deal with these, with Carnotaurus? Who are its family members? Unfortunately, none of the dinosaurs who live with Carnotaurus, there are toys of. So, huzzah. I don't know. I will put a link to my website. You can see where Carnotaurus fits in the Cretaceous period and where it's from. But the actual formation it's in, there are dinosaurs known there, but not very popular, so there's no toys of them. But I will instead talk about its cousins and relatives. So, so if you are an Abelisaur, which I've talked about before, and you are from South America, you are in the Carnotaurus family, and that includes Scorpio venator, who live in Argentinosaurus. Did a video on that one already. There's also, let's see, in South America, there's one called Rugops, which this one is so awful. The dinosaur is cool. Here's my only other example of it. 2010 collect a Rugops. And so this one lives in North Africa. You know, think Spinosaurus, Carnotaurus, at the same time, mid-Cretaceous, or early Cretaceous. No, beginning of late Cretaceous, sorry. And so the toy is just the worst. It has 2 fingers. Its tail's like a rat. I don't know what's going on. I think they're mad at it. I shot a video, and then I just deleted it. It was just so upsetting. I don't know. The point is the drama behind the scenes of Jurassic James videos. So these guys are South American Carnosaur. Oh, and there's one more. I had trouble saying his name. Carnotaurus or something. It's Carnotaurus. It looks like a Carnotaurus essentially, and his hands are wrong as well. So these guys are all closely related compared to the other South American and possibly European guys. Oh, sorry, I forgot Quilmesaurs. Quilmesaurs, who you can find at Target now, not Walmart. No, Walmart now for $9 to $3 on the clearance rack. They made a lot of these things, and no one wants them. So I have some, and I did a video on them when they first came out. I paid full price like an idiot. Here we have Rajasaurus from India. And there's one more I'm forgetting. Ah, there it is. Majungasaurus from Madagascar, which Jurassic World is making a new Majungasaurus coming out, I think, this year, 2024. Oh, this is like a 40-year anniversary of knowing Carnotaurus when it was first dug up. So these guys, there's 2 branches of the Abelisaur, big branches. The Carnosaur groups, which are South American, and the African, and Indian and European group. They're called the Majungasaurus. So that's kind of how they break them apart, essentially. Do you know Carnotaurus lived at the same time as like Corythosaurus and Parasaurolophus and Pentaceratops? Like they lived between 71 and 69 million years ago, roughly. So it's before T-Rex per se, but it's like right in that Campanian stage, right around the border of latest Cretaceous towards the end Cretaceous. And but it didn't see them because South America was an island. So after Pangaea broke apart, I told you the northern hemisphere was Laurasia, Europe, North America, Europe, and Asia. South America had the southern half was Gondwana land, with South America, Africa, Australia. Well, it turns out once that began breaking apart, South America became an island. It broke apart from Africa. Now, it did share many dinosaurs very similar to Africa, like the Spinosaurus and the Irritator, and the Carnotaurus and the Rugops, which I've done videos on many of these. But South America was an island from like 100 million years ago until 2.7 million years ago, roughly. And it was connected with Panama. And then that's where we started seeing the mammals exchanging, like camels and horses and dogs, and saber-tooth cats went south, and armadillos and terror birds and giant sloths went north. And it wouldn't be broken again until Teddy Roosevelt. So, that being said, this is Carnotaurus, a very famous dinosaur with really cool features, a lot of figures of it. I actually intentionally did not try to buy as many, but there's just so many Carnotauruses out there. You have to do something. And I didn't realize I didn't do a video on it. I've talked about every other Abelisaur but Carnotaurus, and yet here we are. That being said, thank you for tuning in. I'll see you guys later.